is a stage, a microcosm of this world.
Here the sun is an amber flood and the moon a 1,000-watt spot. Here shall be space. Here we shall act time. From nothing, everything will come. On this dead stage we'll make society appear.
On this dead stage we'll make society appear. The world is here, our world.
It was very, very hard work, rigging and de-rigging almost every night. These sort of journeys in the backs of lorries. It was, it was there I first encountered Ewan's folk singing, of course, because, I mean, Ewan had been interested in folk singing since he was very small, and he'd try out all these songs on us in the back of the lorry, and I must say, it cured me. I never wanted to hear another folk song as long as I lived. You know, I'd had my fill by the time I'd had a few years of Ewan in the back of that lorry. Particularly the long Scottish ballads, which were totally interminable.
What about trips abroad? How was Theatre Workshop received over there?
The extraordinary thing is we couldn't go wrong. We could not go wrong abroad. We were, I mean, literally fated. You know, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Sweden, Norway, wonderful places. We had marvellous theatres, and you see, they understood our sort of theatre.
He invited me to come to visit the company, the Theatre Workshop company that he and Joan Littlewood had organized. And a couple of weeks later, I drove up to the Midlands where they were giving his play, Uranium 235. They were touring the country to all the mining camps and factory towns and playing in union halls. That's something we'd heard about in America, but had hardly ever done. That they were doing it, I was overwhelmed. And my friend Ewan was no more the folk singing, he was the narrator, the actor-narrator.
This is a puppet master which Ewan himself played. I know my audience. In a few minutes they will leave this building imagining that a man can walk out of his own life. They don't realize that they are the main protagonists in the play. They will go out into the night sharing the same dream until the dream is shattered by a stream of petty circumstances. In 15 minutes, only half the dream will remain. In 30 minutes, only half of half the dream. And in an hour, nothing will be left but a blurred image on the retina of the mind's eye. For the last bus home tonight is more important than the hearse which bears one to a worm's banquet in 12 months' time. Let us be thankful, my dear, that people have such short memories.
Uranium 235, a bold treatment of the history of atomic power and the issues raised by the bomb, attracted the attention of critics of the highest caliber. George Bernard Shaw remarked, "Apart from myself, MacColl is the only man of genius writing for the theatre in England today." After seeing Uranium 235 for the first time, the great Dublin-born dramatist Sean O'Casey declared, "Marlowe is in the wings."
At that time, that combination between Ewan and Joan, with Ewan producing the kind of blueprints and Joan's production, was just, this was right at the edge of all developments going on in theatre. Now it's bread and butter stuff. You see it with all sorts of small companies, but at that time it was new, breaking new ground. And I think it was the most remarkable event, which the entire British theatre have learned from since. That I think this was an immense development. It removed the blinkers. It was as important in post-war theatre as the coming of Ibsen to the late 19th century theatre in Europe, in the sense of saying, look, theatre matters, it says things, said Ibsen. And Shaw picked it up and said, we've got to say things through theatre. And what Joan and Ewan did was to say that we've got to see things and we've got to find new means of saying them, that the stale three-act play no longer works. We've got to break this up, and that's what they did.
I found my love on the gasworks croft, dreamed a dream by the old canal, kissed my girl by the factory wall. Dirty old town, dirty old town.
That was made to cover a scene change in, I think it was Landscape with Chimneys, when the Theatre Workshop was doing it. There was just a place where a scene change took a little too long, and as I understood it, Joan and he decided that there needed to be a minute and a half of song, and he didn't have one, so he wrote it. And he could write songs very, very quickly when he chose. I mean, we used to just write songs in the car where you'd start a form off, and each of you would just add a verse, a verse, a verse, a verse, a verse. And that's probably the way that came off. He could write very quickly to order.
What about the emotional charge of that song?
Well, of course, that's his youth. And his courtship years were very poignant to him because he was convinced that he was not really good courtship material. Although I understand that he started on the courtship road at the age of 14. He was very aware that his ears stuck out. He was very well aware that he was slight, that he was badly fed, that he wasn't handsome in the usual handsome sense. He had a weak chin. He had his physical appearance before he started walking was fairly slight. It wasn't the usual kind of type. So, I mean, he went at that with insecurity as well. And being of an underprivileged class in a town that was crumbling, out of a job, and seeing the beauty of life, which he did, in this ugly place, to him was ugly. And that's what the dirty old town is. It's a mixture of all of those things.
Clouds are drifting across the moon. Cats are prowling on the beach. Spring's a girl in the street at night. Dirty old town, dirty old town.
I am very pleased with the authority granted to me by this university to present to you the certificate of the degree of Master of Arts honoris causa awarded to Ewan MacColl.
Thank you very much. He would have come here abashed, and yet in his inner heart knowing he deserved it, yet not knowing how to get through such a ceremony. He was supposed to come twice, and each time he was so terrified of the ceremony that he made himself ill. He knew the value of education, the value of the books, the value of the method of study. And yet I don't think he would have made a good scholar at a university. I don't think so. He was too original. He would not have kowtowed to the teachers. He never did. He always argued with everybody, and he always thought he was right, even when he wasn't. But he would have come, and he would have done it, and he would have felt great about it afterward.
Like an old dead tree. Dirty old town, dirty old town.